Hey y'all, Monk Joseph here with the Broken Buddha. Alright, so today's going to be a heavily controversial topic, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. I was kind of holding back because I was afraid it may affect my business, but yeah, that's not very Yeshua-like of me. Alright, by the way, that's Jesus' name in case you don't know. Yeah, so let's talk about Christianity. Before I start, I'm going to go ahead and sum this up for the end, go right to the end, and then I'll explain. If you're not reading the book of James every day and walking as you saw and understand Yeshua is walking, you're not a Christian and you should find another religion. Point blank, period. Okay, now let's start with where it started. So the stories of the Old Testament and Yahweh do not belong to Jewish people. Go back and look up the I want to say Mennonites or Canaanites. Look up your origins of Yahweh, and you'll see everything you need to see. I'm not doing all your research for you guys this time. Look up origins of Yahweh or origins of YHWH is actually what it came from. They added in the extra vowels so you could pronounce it. It comes from a lesser Canaanite god of war and weather. So it wasn't even originally God. It was a god. And beyond that, its name was originally El. All right. I'm not changing or saying anything changes as far as Yeshua being, one of the sons of God or a direct incarnation. Technically, everybody's a direct incarnation, but that's not the point of this video. It's more about pointing out the ignorances that I experienced that you're probably experiencing too. And not in like a bad or chastising way. I'm not going to tell you you're going to hell if you do this or don't do that. There are a lot of possibilities of things that can happen when you die with your consciousness. You've gone to sleep before. You know what the possibilities of endless situations and what your mind can do to you. I shouldn't have to teach you that. Uh, but that's the origins. So it wasn't even originally belonging to the Jewish population, and people get heavily misconstrued about this. Um, and beyond that, the Jewish population doesn't care about Yeshua, guys. I mean, everybody knows that. I don't know why it's even like an issue, to be honest, of why we would even root so much into that culture. Probably Zionism. And remember, guys, I'm 13% Jewish, so I'm not that anybody should care about speaking negatively about anybody, but these days, if you even say the word Jew in the wrong tone, someone will tell you that you're anti-Semitic. I am not anti-Semitic. I absolutely am proud of the cultures and everything within me that I came from and that I experienced in the world. So yeah, so that being said, that's the origins. Um, I think in hindsight of taking the path as far as I did, I feel almost like foolish because the Old Testament is just filled with stories of the sons of God. And everybody just overlooks it. Like, no, this is the only son. Dude, there's like maybe 100 stories of the sons of God. So I mean, if you want to go with the direct incarnation, that makes solid sense because Yeshua was the only. If you study Eastern religion, there's a thing called rainbow body. Yeshua established rainbow body younger than any being on the planet in all of time, the known time. I mean, he's 33. He got murdered for spreading compassion, and his body did a thing. It turned to light and could go through a massive stone. So I'm not negating any of that. Okay. Now, when you study Gnostic Christianity, eventually you'll get to a part where, which I'm not saying you need to read the Book of Enoch. Like, the guys, not all the Dead Sea Scrolls are valid. And if you get into Gnostic Christianity, I think it was pretty easy to identify, like, oh, that one was written by an insane psychotic schizophrenic, and that was written by an enlightened person. It's kind of clear as day. It's not that cryptic. I mean, in the ones that are crazy cryptic, like to the point where they don't make any coherent sense at all, yeah, man, you should probably just move that book along and go to the next one. You don't got to dispel the whole thing. That'd be like reading the book of Psalms and being like, this is just a book of quotes. This isn't a scripture, But that's just, you can't look at every single book in the Gnostic pantheon for uh, exact truth. I mean, there's some stuff in the Gnostic scripture that says that Enoch is in, it's not possible that he was in heaven or is or could have done. I mean, he would have been just pure mortal, born, died, dirt, because it wasn't possible pre-Yeshua for a Christian to do that. Anyway, not the point. Get into your own Gnostic studies. That's the point. But when you get into the Gnostic scriptures, there's a part where they're like, they ask Yeshua, they're like, who do we follow? There's 12 of them. Who knows what the heck they're talking about? Yeshua in multiple scriptures says, trust James the just. And if you don't know this, James was like, that teacher's pet nerd that you probably think was like an idiot or weak or pathetic? That was James. And that's why Yeshua said, trust James the just. There's a lot more to their relationship than that. And also, guys, you got to think about, well, why is this all this Bible books? Why isn't it just James? Well, no one's going to give you all their money if you just hand them a book like this and say, read this every day. You don't need anything else. You don't need a pastor. You know what I'm saying? And like I said in previous videos, capitalism really took over things. And I mean, it wasn't just Christianity, guys. I mean, I've made watch the Buddhism video. I mean, there were people making fake scriptures just relentlessly, and it's been happening like even like more recently than not. So there's that. Moving forward, any religion where you're following a sage and you're not walking as the sage walked, you're not practicing the religion. You're pretty much a Taoist at that point. You're just doing whatever you want that feels good and using that religion to validate you doing whatever feels good. And personally, I see born again Christianity as the antithesis of Christianity, because your concept is like, oh, he walked a proper life, a frugal, poor life, and spread compassion and challenged the authority and the entire religious game, and then was murdered for it super young, just so I could do whatever I want and never take a single drop of responsibility for my life. If you want to believe that, that's fine. But I'll tell you right now, you're taking all that with you into the grave. And if you think that someone's going to come and fix all your problems for you, you are sadly mistaken. And I'll be as blunt as to say you're wrong. No one's going to be there to help you. And no one's going to be there to tell you were wrong. No one's going to be there for you to say, no, wait a minute, I'm right. You're going to pretty much be outside your body, watching it get burned, watching it get eaten by animals, watch it sitting in a room because nobody even knows you're dead for a month, stinking all high heck. And if you want to wait till that moment to read a book just to be sure, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm not trying to tell you I know where you're going, because I don't. I don't know what you did in your life. But read the book of James. The book of James, I mean, he doesn't go as far as to say you're going to be judged by your actions. But there's the part where, what is it? Again, read your book of James. It's something like, you show me your faith, you show me your actions by your faith, and I'll show you my faith by my actions. That's the closest he comes. But more or less, you should focus on some actions. Be a little more careful with your soul. So, yeah. Yeah, so the whole idea, and I've watched people we've all seen people do relentless things, horrible in the name of Yeshua. Like, I can do whatever I want because I'm a born again Christian. Okay, so you did a ritual and went in some water did you do it just so you could do whatever you wanted, or just to keep your conscience clean? I mean, yeah, that's not going to help you, man. And it may have helped you here to have that ability to be ruthless and not care about anything. But again, that's more like, and that's not, I mean, even Taoists don't go that hard with throwing their conscience to the wind completely. I mean, they still have sets of rules that they have to follow, especially like the strong ones. So yeah, I'm sure this will be slightly controversial. I'm not going to tell you exactly where my path led me. That is where my karmic choices led me, where I am on my religious path, what I do, how I study. I will tell you that I study and train relentlessly. Even still to this day, after going as far as I went, if you watch the videos, I still train relentlessly. I'm wearing sunglasses because I'm just freaking exhausted from studying for like 8 hours yesterday. 8 hours straight. It's just what I do. It's just what I do. So yeah, if you don't believe me, go through some Gnostic scriptures. There's actually, like, the Gnostic scriptures are wild, man. There's stuff where it's like, there was one scripture where it's like, look, man, if you don't get, and it was Yeshua, like, was it Yeshua? It doesn't matter. Read your own Gnostic scriptures, where they're like, you can't get into heaven without being martyred for spreading compassion. And it's like, oh, I mean, but that's the path that Yeshua walked. You want to say you're a Christian? That's the path you chose. And if you fail miserably on that, whose fault is that? It's not Monk Joseph's fault. It's not Yeshua's fault. It's not, James's fault. Whose fault is it? It's your fault, right? So you can either wait until you die to look into these things and figure it out, or you can do something about it now. That's your call. Look in scripture, bury your face deep in, you know, there's multiple Bibles, guys. You can't just look at the King James. You need to look at the very first one. What's the first one? The Syrian Orthodox Church runs on the Peshitta Bible. You should start there if you want to go all the way back. There's the Septuagint from the Greek Orthodox Church. All of these are pew Bibles, right? You sit in a Catholic church, you got that Bible in front of you, you pick up, you read it. That's what these Bibles are. The first one was the Peshitta, the second one was the Septuagint. Now we have the King James. So if you want to believe that only that one's relevant, and not only that, but believe what some guy is telling you instead of using your own eyes, brain, and ears and debate, um, that's all. That's all on you. And I don't know how long. I don't even know if I'm going to respond in the comments or if I'm going to have comments on, because I'm not going to waste the rest of my life debating with people like you who can't just open a book and read for 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day. You want everyone else to do it for you. And then you actually have the nerve to believe them. And what are you going to do? Blame them? Oh, sorry, Yeshua. Sorry, God. That guy over there told me, that I didn't need to use my eyes and brain because I didn't because he told me to. You know what I'm saying? So say whatever you want, deal with this however you want. Just don't blame me when you're over there oh, sorry, I thought Monk Joseph was a bad guy, so I didn't want to listen to him. I thought he was just trying to hurt me, so I didn't want to listen to him. These are your problems, guys. Again, I'm not going to be I'm not going to be dropping dead debating with you. I'm going to be studying the scripture and walking that path until wherever it leads. And I will be ready to meet my maker. I will be ready to face things. And I will tell you that there is more than just this. I know that for a fact. How I know that is none of your business. Go through it yourself. Deal with it yourself. You'll have to deal with it when you die. If you want to believe you're worm food, like, good luck ain't going to help you, so I ain't going to say it. So, do you. I'll take it back to Baltimore. Do you. Do you, boo-boo. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to end it on that note. So, there's your message. Like I said at the beginning of the video, read the book of James every day, 10 times a day, until it's sunk into your brain of how you're supposed to act, because that's what Yeshua told people to do. Memorize Yeshua's life. I think there's a show right now, Chosen. If you're not, or something like that. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of TV. I just saw it looked pretty awesome. There's a whole series out that will show you how to walk like Yeshua. If you ain't doing that, don't call yourself a Christian. In my opinion, you're just a bad Taoist at that point, all right? So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was at least informative. If it wasn't informative, I hope it was entertaining. But thank you for stopping by the Broken Buddha. Peace and blessings.